Today I want to talk to you about women's jeans. And if you're anything like me, you know that women's jeans rarely fit right, and they rarely have the details that a normal human being would traditionally be looking for. And I think you already know what I'm talking about. Pockets. Women's jeans pockets are too shallow. We all know this. Style. A lot of times the style is dictated by the fashion industry, and they're telling you it's time to wear skinny jeans, and then the next year they're telling you it's time to wear bell bottoms. What I do in my slow and tiny lifestyle is I try to be as sustainable as possible, as utilitarian as possible, and as comfortable as possible. So let's talk about this pair of thrifted men's Levi's. Found these the other day at the thrift store, the local thrift store. They are Levi's 505 straight fit in a 36 by 32. So 36 is the waistband, 32 being the inseam. They're too big for me around the waist. They're a little bit long in the inseam. But what I like about them is they have some very nice, nearly natural distressing. And what I say by nearly natural, I mean that these jeans were probably purchased by a guy pre-distressed, but there's a lot of natural wear and tear. Specifically, I'm seeing some here in the crotch and at the cuffs. They're very soft. They're very nicely broken in. They have some good thigh and knee fades that actually look natural. The reason why I'm pointing this out is with a lot of women's jeans that you can buy ready to wear, they will be pre-distressed for you, and sometimes they do a good job and sometimes they do a terrible job. And if you look at like the whiskering on the crotch fades or the thigh distressing, it like doesn't line up with with anyone's normal natural body parts. Also it has this nicely broken in paper tag. There's just a lot of details about these that I like. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to make them fit. And this is going to be a pretty simple tailor. I'm by no means an expert, but I do want to share with you how I do it. But the first thing we need to do is try them on. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my sweatshirt. I'm wearing just a thin tank underneath, so it's got a little bit of room here, but this is a classic problem for us women with wide hips, narrow waist. So we have the gap at the back. Looking at the length, it's not too bad. This would probably work if you had a boot heel or a high heel shoe, which I don't wear, so I would probably end up cuffing them eventually. I actually really like the distressing that's going on there. The other problem with men's jeans is I tend to give women with my shape kind of a squared off flat butt. Although, these aren't too bad. Okay, well, I'm thinking that my waistband edits are going to make this work. And I think that's all I'm gonna do. The crotch, I think I'm just gonna patch and repair right there. It doesn't feel like there's an excessive amount of fabric here to me. In the future, I hope to do another video tutorial where I would show you how to take out the excess fabric from a men's pair of pants to fit you nice on the thighs. But also, can we just take a moment of appreciation for these pockets? They go all the way down to here. I could probably even fit my phone in there. First thing we need to do is decide how much we're going to take in. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to give 2 darts in the waistband right here, or at the top of the curvature of my butt. So in order to figure out where that should go, I am going to pinch until it feels like it's in the right spot. So what I want is I want it to be sort of up, kind of as high as they'll go. So this is sort of a mid-rise height. And I'm probably going to end up taking out, one easy way to do this really quick is just to pinch one side and measure. So if I put it right up to the bottom of the pinch I did there, a little bit less than 2 inches. So I will probably just aim for removing a total of 2 inches overall from the waistband. 100% cotton jeans tend to stretch out as you wear them, so it's not really a bad idea to make them a little too snug up here, because I think they'll end up fitting better in the end. So what that 2 inches breaks down to in the back is, so if I'm looking to remove a total of 2 inches, when I create my 2 back darts, what I want is to end up with a total of 1 inch removed on this side and a total of 1 inch removed on this side. Okay, now I'm not quite ready to do the darts yet. I'm not just going to do them right into the waistband. The next step is to rip the stitches, basically from the 2 spots where I want the darts to go, all in between here. So I'm going to end up removing these stitches, this belt loop, and then removing these stitches over to right about here. And the way I choose where the darts should go, I just kind of look at another pair of pants that I own that have darts, and I mimic that. Here's a pair of shop pants that I made out of some unbleached denim. And I don't know if you could see this or not. I think maybe you can. But do you see the location of these darts? It's like right here and right here. Those fit me really, really well. That goes right along the curvature of my butt. That dart is about 3.5 inches. See, it's about 3.5 inches from the belt loop. So to me, that means that a logical location would be to put it at about 3.5 inches also. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First thing I got to do is rip some of these stitches. So let's do that. So here I am up at my sewing table slash desk slash art making area. It's very small, of course. Okay, so we decided on about 3.5 inches from the center. So what I'm going to do, just to help me eyeball, is I'm going to go ahead and move it to about 4.5 inches. So I just have a little bit extra loosened to be able to know where to stop. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a line there with my white pencil. It'll come out later. And a line there. So now I know. Okay. And to give you a little background, I mean, if you found your way here, you may have come by way of one of our social media accounts. We're known as Hannah and Nemo. Nemo is my partner, and we make artwork out of aluminum cans. But as we've learned, based on reactions that we receive from our following, we live a lifestyle that is unique and different. Not for everyone, but for a lot of people. And they have questions. And I've mentioned things about how we live tiny and how we live slow. And so I think on this channel, you are probably going to see, in the long run, a little bit of our artwork and a little bit of our lifestyle. Nemo and I both love thrifting because you never know what you're going to find. On top of that, it's very sustainable to thrift. I know that some people are critical of thrifting, saying that, you know, what's available at the thrift stores is intended for poor people only. And I say that's completely relative, because what's poor for one person is wealthy for another. So I don't think that it's fair to say who or who cannot shop at a thrift store. The thrift store that we go to in town raises money for college education and scholarships, and I feel like not only will I donate something, but I will also buy something, because either way it helps the cause. So I got the waistband pulled away where I need it to be pulled away. Okay, and so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to locate exactly where I want the darts to go. I'm going to ignore the seam in the yoke. So I think I want the darts to come down to possibly within the pocket. I'm going to go ahead and undo a little bit more of the waistband stitching just to give me a little more working room. I'm going to go up to the edge of the patch, the tag. Okay. These darts are from the top edge, which is up here, top edge of that piece of fabric. They're about 5 inches. All right, so I'm going to go for the 5-inch distance, and I'm going to just kind of measure perpendicularly from the top. I know it's hard to see. Okay, let's do it from the inside. Because of the lightness on these pants and the fact that my pencil is not marking all that well today, I'm going to switch to a ballpoint pen. I never really worry about marks, especially on a pair like this. They'll wash out. Okay, so let's measure on the inside here. So there's that mark. That's better. Okay, so 3.5 and 4.5. Both sides. Okay, and then I'm going to just kind of eyeball everything. That's how I do it. I'm going to come down maybe right about here. So there's that 5-inch mark. I'm going to aim for the dart being located right here. I'm just going to draw a line. And another line here, so you end up with the V shape. So there's one dart. Okay, and then in order to locate this one to be really symmetrical, I'm just going to use the pockets as a guide. Go ahead and turn it inside out. All right, so I'm going to measure perpendicularly off of this inside pocket line of stitching, and that is at about 1.25 inches. So I'm going to make a mark at also 1.25 inches over here, and sort of perpendicularly coming down from my marks up here at the 5-inch mark right there. And then, as I did on the other side, I'm going to draw the triangle of the dart. So next I'm going to go ahead and pin these. In order to make sure that I get them lined up, I'm just going to use my pin through one side and poke it through the other. So those are lined up. I'm going to make sure that I pull the pocket out of the way on the other side. Okay, and I am going to pin in several locations. Okay, now I already know from experience that the yoke seam is going to give me a little bit of trouble. So I'm going to use my small-ish dead blow hammer to hammer this a little bit flatter so that I can get it through my machine. That's why I didn't put a pin right there for right now, because I knew I was going to do it while it was folded. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, so I've got my machine loaded with some blue thread. It's just what I happen to have on hand. I didn't buy anything special. I'm using the same thread. It's a cotton poly blend in both my top stitching and my bobbin, because for these stitches, we don't need to, they don't show. So it doesn't need to be top stitching right now. Okay, so I may have pinned these backwards, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm no professional in this arena. It's just something I kind of do for fun, and I kind of want to share it. Okay. Gonna follow the line, and I'm gonna make it just a little bit more dramatic than what I actually drew. I think I'm gonna come to the left of my line here, and I'm going to kind of follow it down, and I might even let it curve a little bit as I get towards the end, and then I'm gonna stitch all the way off the fabric when I get there. Okay, so okay, so there's one. Now let me do the other one. The next thing I'm going to do is try it on again to make sure before I finish the waistband that it fits the way I think it's going to fit, and then I'm going to like it. Okay, let's see how that looks. Now you're still going to see the waistband kind of flapping around right here, but yeah, the darts are there and it feels pretty good. It feels like it fits my waist really well. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, let's get back to the machine and we will finish off the waistband. So the next step, I'm going to tie the strings and I'm going to trim a little bit of the fraying fabric away just so that we can see what's going on. And then I need to press. I'm going to press these darts towards the outside seams. For something like this, I would just use this piece of plywood because I can just fit it right in here. I actually don't own an ironing board. I do a lot of sewing, but I don't own an ironing board. Kind of a slow and tiny lesson in and of itself. I don't like to own tools and gadgets that only serve one purpose. And for me, an ironing board would only serve one purpose. This piece of wood, I use this for everything when I'm sewing. So whether or not I'm ironing something or hammering rivets or buttons, I use it for various crafty reasons. Just anytime you need a piece of wood, you know, you just need a hard surface or an extra layer. I'm gonna get this out of the way. The next thing I'm gonna do is I am going to cut through the waistband. And so, you know, I might as well go ahead and remove the tag and this belt loop. Let me go ahead and just cut this down the middle. Okay, I'm gonna open it up, and I am going to go ahead and remove just enough of that edge stitching at the top. So to right about there and there, so that I can make that lay flat. I'm going to sew it back together at the correct length for the new waist size. Okay, so what that means is I need to measure exactly how much got removed. And again, this is a spot where I might just take out just a little bit more than necessary. Okay, so put a line right there at the center, side up, put a line right there in the center. So that's more or less where we need to stitch them together. I'm going to transfer the line to the inside so I can see when I'm stitching it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and pin it together as well. It really doesn't have to be perfect. You know, denim is kind of forgiving, I think, especially 100% cotton. It kind of stretches as you wear it, so. And then finally, I think I'm going to go ahead and draw a line for myself so I know more or less where I want to stitch. Remove a couple more stitches so that can lay a little bit more flat. You're probably noticing a lot of my decisions are made on the fly, and that's true. It's because I just kind of get a feel for it as I go. Okay, so this one also can be stitched with just regular blue thread. It doesn't need to be top stitching. Same settings as before. Trim. What, Biscuit? What's wrong? Come here. You have food. And now I'm going to press it open. All right, now it's time for top stitching. So I'm going to put the top stitching thread in my machine, and I've got some regular heavyweight denim thread. It is not a perfect match, but I don't think it's going to matter. It's close enough to the gold color, okay? I'm going to loosen the tension just a tad for the heavier weight. And I'm going to lengthen the stitch just a little bit. Okay. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pin this. I just kind of feel for the edge where it needs to be in there, and you can also kind of gauge it off of the distressing and where it would fall naturally. And this also gives you an opportunity to make it neat and tidy and get those little, any strings or edges tucked in. Okay, pinned pretty well. Everything's tucked in. Make sure that your darts are facing the right direction, pointing towards the outside seams. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch, making sure to start the line of stitching at least like an inch beyond where you ripped the stitches on the waistband so that it overlaps. And I just line it up with where the stitching was prior. Okay. Okay, so I'm getting to the middle, and I think I'm going to go ahead and use my hump jumper that my sister made me out of cut up IKEA cards. And you can Google what this is, but it's basically just a spacer that allows, it gives you more room to get over that hump. No. I broke the thread. Try it again. Let's get the hump jumper in there. And in this case, I am going to set it right here. I think maybe that will be more useful. And here, I am just going to let it go over a little, over that patch. I really don't care. Okay. Hopefully we don't get too much jumbled on the back. Oh, a little jumble right there. That's okay. All right. That looks pretty good. I'm going to redo a bit of this edge stitching at the very top right here, since I did rip some of those out. Good enough. All right, so now we have the replacement edge stitching, top stitching right there, and then some extra edge stitching right there. And trust me, no one's ever going to be looking at that. It's fine. I'm going to trim up these, and then I'm going to add the belt loop. Here's that belt loop. And I'm not even going to try putting bar tacks because I know better. I am, however, going to hammer everything that is more than 2 layers of fabric. Okay. Just right in the middle, covers up that seam that you just made. Let's see if the machine will cooperate. All right, it's not the prettiest, but it's attached. And I did have a little bit of problem with the tension, and I turned off my camera and then I forgot to turn it back on. Okay, I'm gonna pin the other side of the belt loop. Okay, did I get, okay, I think that worked. Close enough. Okay, it's not perfectly centered, but I think it's gonna be okay. I might end up hand stitching that later because my machine just... All right, let's try them on. So first of all, let's look at the fit. Looks pretty good. There we go. We got the darts. Didn't really take any room out of the pockets, so they still lay pretty flat. And the waistband is re-secured with that belt loop reattached in the middle. Now, I still need to do something about the tear that's happening in the crotch, but I think that will be another day. And then regarding the length, I'm gonna live with it like this for a while, and if I decide to shorten them, I'll make another video. Okay, thank you guys for joining me. This was my first official YouTube how-to video of tailoring a pair of jeans to fit. I'm really accustomed to working on Instagram and TikTok with the vertical orientation. If you want to go find us over there, just look for at Hannah and Nemo, and you can see some of the moving mosaics that we make from aluminum cans.